became the foundation
del Estado gran colombiano,
of the great state of Colombia as a great South American state.
y luego vino la unión del ejército,
And then we had the
de los
union of
centauros
armies
comandados por el Catire Páez, con el negro primero ahí como primera lanza.
of all the armies that Venezuela had
Y
initially.
luego vino la liberación
And then it came
de Santa Fe de
freedom
Bogotá,
in
la
in
gran
Bogotá,
batalla de
Santa
Bolívar.
Fe, in the Boyacá great battle.
Del 5 de julio de 1811
On the 5th of July of
al
1811.
7 de agosto
From that date till August 7th
1919,
of 1819, only
8 años,
8 years later, only 8 years had passed,
y 2 días.
a month and 2 days.
Soldados de la patria, escuchen.
So soldiers of this homeland,
Pueblo amado de
listen,
Venezuela.
beloved people of
Pueblos
Venezuela,
rebeldes de nuestra América, escuchen.
rebel peoples of our
Habían
Americas.
pasado 300 años de colonialismo.
We had had 300 years of colonialism. The Spanish empire had sent its best armies and generals.
Veníamos de las tinieblas
We
de la
came
dominación
out of
colonial.
the darkness of colonial domain, and just in 8 years,
Un mes y 2 días,
a month and 2 days,
nuestros padres libertadores,
our founding
nuestras
fathers,
madres libertadoras, con Bolívar al frente,
with
habían
Bolívar
construido
at the helm,
un Estado
had built
nuevo,
a new state, a revolutionary
gran
state,
americano,
a
gran
great
suramericano,
South
la gran
American
Colombia.
state, the great state of
Habían
Colombia.
construido
They
una
had
identidad
built
de pueblo y un proyecto de futuro,
a nation and a future project, and they had defeated the most powerful army ever seen in the Americas.
y derrotamos
And then
espiritual y
we
culturalmente
defeated
a los
them,
colonialistas.
we defeated the colonialists spiritually and militarily
Políticamente
and politically.
a los vasallos,
And we defeated politically those who were in favor of the colonial empire,
y al imperio español
and
en toda la línea.
we defeated
Y luego nos
politically the
encargamos,
Spanish,
nuestro
colonial
libertador, de
empire.
construir un ejército
and we built
que
an army
romperle el espinazo al
who
ejército
broke the
imperial
back
español
of the Spanish
y darle la
imperial
libertad
army
a la Nueva Granada,
to free the new
que es el territorio
Granada
de lo que hoy es Colombia,
state, which is
Panamá, parte de
Colombia today,
Centroamérica.
and part of Panama and Central America.
Pero no quedó ahí. La
But that was not all.
pasaron los meses.
Months
Se
went
firmó
by,
un tratado de armisticio, aquel
and a
27 de
peace
noviembre del año 20,
treaty was signed,
donde el imperio español tuvo que reconocer a Bolívar como presidente.
where the Spanish Empire had to acknowledge Simón Bolívar as the constitutional president and head of the army of Venezuela. And then he prepared the campaign of Carabobo, and on 1821, July 4th, 9 years later,
11 meses
11 months
y 19 días,
and 19 days,
el ejército unido libertador de los
the
patriotas de
unified
Norteamérica,
liberating
dirigido
army
por
of the
Bolívar,
Americas, headed by
destrozaba
Bolívar,
en el campo de Carabobo
at
el
Carabobo,
ejército más poderoso que
defeated
tenía
the
el imperio
most
español sobre esta
powerful
tierra.
army of the Spanish Empire in this
El
land.
camino continuó largo.
And it was a long way
Ya
from
Bolívar había
there.
mandado a Sucre
Bolivar had sent Sucre
por Panamá,
to Panama,
era la vía más segura
which was the safest
para llegar
way to get
hasta
to
las costas de Guayaquil
the shores of Guayaquil
y empezar la organización del Ejército Unido
and to
Libertador del
start
Sur.
organizing a liberating South Army.
Y Bolívar no se quedó a vanagloriarse en Caracas.
And Bolivar did not stay in Caracas bragging
Esas
about
tierras ya
such
libertadas por su espada,
those liberating strives,
con un gesto de desprendimiento
but
y de visión geopolítica
with a geopolitical
gigantesca,
vision
con un gesto de sacrificio
and
nunca
to
antes visto en la
an amount of
humanidad,
self-sacrifice never seen before in
su caballo,
humanity. He took his
como sus
horse
tropas,
and
y
his
se fue al
troops
sur,
and he
a
went to the
incorporarse a la
south
campaña del sur,
to join the South
con
campaign
Boná, Pichincha,
in
Junín.
Pichincha, Junín.
El Imperio Español se había
The
refugiado
Spanish Empire had sought refuge there
muy bien armadas y
with
poderosas.
powerful troops, well-armed troops in Peru.
Los patriotas peruanos se habían dividido.
The Peruvian patriots
Estaban
were
peleados unos
divided
contra otros.
and were fighting
Cual
amongst
significó
themselves,
traiciones,
which
derrotas,
meant there were treasons
y en un
and
gesto de
defeats, and in a
desesperación
sign
llamaron a
of
Bolívar.
despair they called for Bolivar,
Y Bolívar sabía que la
and
oligarquía
Bolivar
de Lima
knew
lo
that
odiaba.
the Peruvian
Y
oligarchy
le preguntó
hated
a esa
him,
oligarquía,
and Bolivar asked those oligarchs, "Are you sure you want me to go there with my army?" And they said,
"Tú eres la salvación del Perú.
"Yes, Bolivar, you
Ven
are
urgentemente." Bolívar mandó
our only hope for salvation. Come as soon as possible." And he sent an advance army with Sucre,
Luego llegó él,
and then he
le
arrived,
tocó dirigir la batalla de Junín.
and he headed the Junín
No
battle.
pudo conducir la campaña y la batalla de Ayacucho porque Santander conspiró en Bogotá
He
y le
could
prohibió
not
el
lead the
permiso y le quitó los
Ayacucho and
poderes
Santander
para conducir
battles
el ejército.
because
Y él nombró
inner workings of his army.
al gigante
And he
de
named
Cumaná
the
Antonio
Cumaná
José de
giant
Sucre
Antonio José de Sucre
al frente de las tropas.
to head the troops
Aquel
there
9 de diciembre
on December 9th
del año 24,
of 1824,
cuando amaneció en aquella fría montaña, 4.200 metros de altura.
when he was at a mountain
Las
4,200
tropas
meters
españolas mejor
above sea
armadas,
level, the best
con
troops
mejor
from Spain
capacidad de fuego
with the best
y
firepower
ventaja
and an
física en el
advantage
terreno,
physical on the terrain,
creyeron
they thought
que ahí empezaba el principio del fin del ejército
that was the
libertador de
beginning of the
Bolívar.
end of Bolivar's
Y ya ustedes
libertarian army.
Señores oficiales
But you know, officers here,
de la patria,
soldiers,
¿cuál fue el resultado de la
you know
batalla?
what was the result of that battle.
En apenas 2 horas,
In only 2
el
hours,
ejército, Gran Nacional,
the Grand
Gran
National,
Colombiano,
Grand
el
Colombian
ejército
Army,
unido,
a united
que
army,
tuvo soldados y oficiales de toda nuestra
which
América,
had soldiers and officers from all of the Americas, led by the great General
rindió
Antonio José
al
de
virrey
Sucre,
del Perú,
defeated
rindió a los jefes
the
militares y declaró la
Vice
victoria
Count of
absoluta
Peru
sobre el Imperio Español
and
en
declare
tierras
the
suramericanas.
absolute defeat of the Spanish Empire in South
grande.
America. Glory to them.
Diciembre 24.
December the 24th.
¿Cuánto tiempo había pasado?
How long had it
General
been?
Figueroa Valdés,
General Figueroa Valdez,
5 de julio
from the 5th of July of 1811
al 9 de diciembre
to December 9th, 1924.
13 años,
13 years,
5 meses
5 months,
y 4 días.
and 4 days.
Incansable
Unbeatable.
para nuestro pueblo, para los revolucionarios
For the
de
glory
entonces,
of our people, of the revolutionary people
para las
of
revolucionarias de entonces.
the time.
Y en Ayacucho
And in
se
Ayacucho,
culminó la obra militar
he
y política
finished his
más
political
grande que
and
se
military
tenga
work, the
conocimiento
greatest
entre las
work
proezas
ever done
libertarias de la humanidad. Y lo
amongst
hizo
the
el
liberators
Ejército
in
Unido
humanity,
Libertador
and
de
that
Bolívar y de Sucre.
deed was made by
Esa es la
the
gran verdad que
Sucre
nos
and
ilumina
Bolivar army,
como ese sol que brilla hoy aquí.
and that is true.
Esa es la gran
No one can
verdad
deny.
que debe guiar a nuestro pueblo
And
hoy.
that should guide our people today,
Estamos en batalla
because we are battling
intensa
intensely
y victoriosa.
and victoriously,
Porque si hay algo que decir,
because we must say,
se lo digo al espíritu eterno del comandante Chávez. Comandante Chávez,
and I say this to the eternal spirit of Commander Chavez, wherever he may be,
y nos vea,
listening, watching us,
que aquí está tu pueblo,
I can tell you, this is your people,
unido de
standing
manera
up,
perfecta en fusión popular,
join
militar,
in a
policial,
perfect military
y victorioso frente a
police
todas las
union,
conspiraciones del Imperio
victorious
norteamericano,
against all
y avanzando
conspiracies
libre
of the U.S.
y
empire
soberano
and
a la
advancing
construcción de la
as a
grandeza
free country
esplendorosa de la patria venezolana,
for the glory and
y de la
splendor
patria
of
grande también.
Venezuelan homeland
Fuerza
and
Armada
of the
Nacional
bigger
Bolivariana,
South
animando
America homeland.
conciencia máxima.
We have the highest moral standards and unity and the best training to continue the roads set for us by destiny. We are a people of libertarians. A year ago, I was right here. A year ago, exactly, today. It was July 5th, 2024. And I pledged to you a pledge that I have fulfilled. I pledged to you, generals, admirals, officers, soldiers. I pledge to all of you and to the people and to Bolívar and Sucre. I made the pledge before that flag, which was used by the liberated United Armies of South America, our national flag. And I pledged that before the immortal spirit of our commander Chavez. I said, and I said to my wife, our first combatant, when we were coming here a year ago, I'm sure this ruling stick that you have given me, which shines, will never ever fall into the hands of a puppet or in the hands of a man who may betray our homeland. Never would fall into the hands of a fascist. And this is the commanding stick. In my hand, in the hand of the people, as Commander-in-Chief of the Bolivarian Army, I hold it steadily in my hand, like I hold steadily the reins of this country to its definite independence, great Latin American independence. So, with pride of being a descendant of the freedom fighters of Latin America, I authorize this great military parade to commemorate the anniversary of the Bolivarian Army and July 5th, 1811 anniversary. Honor Ellie.
En estos momentos se prepara el callejón de honor para dar inicio a este imponente desfile cívico-militar para celebrar los 214 años de la independencia de la República
We are
Bolivariana
watching
de
the start
Venezuela,
of
Día de la
a
Fuerza Armada
military
Nacional Bolivariana,
parade
Día
to
del
celebrate the
Ejército. Como bien decía el
114th
presidente
anniversary of
constitucional
the
de la República
creation
Bolivariana
of
de
the
Venezuela, Nicolás
Bolivarian,
Maduro, comandante jefe de la Fuerza
of
Armada
the
Nacional
Venezuelan
Bolivariana,
army.
el bastón de mando de la Fuerza Armada Nacional Bolivariana continúa en sus manos para seguir el destino de la patria, el respaldo de los venezolanos y venezolanas a tener un país libre, un país independiente y cuyo bastón de mando, como bien lo juró ante el Libertador Simón Bolívar, ante el comandante Hugo Chávez Frías, no cayó en manos
Venezuela,
de
Nicolás
fascistas,
Maduro, at
en
the
manos
moment in
de
which
personas
this
interesadas
parade
en
is
la
going
de
to
la
kick
patria
off at this
y que
moment
están
to celebrate, to mark
concatenados
the
a otros momentos
214th
históricos no
anniversary
dependientes
of the
de lo que es el
independence of
destino de
Venezuela, as
Venezuela.
well
De esta manera,
of the
como
day of the
se hace
Bolivarian
rigurosos
Armed
ya
Forces
preparativos
as
para
well.
dar inicio
In his remarks, the
oficial a
President
este
mentioned
imponente
and
desfile
honored
cívico
Liberator
militar
Simón Bolívar,
para
also the
conmemorar, como
patriots who
habíamos
fought
dicho,
for the
214
independence
años
of the country and also of Latin America and America as a whole, as a continent, and to defeat the Spanish Empire as well. President Maduro highlighted the importance of national unity, the strength of the armed forces as well to guarantee sovereignty, to defend the independence of the country in the face of fascism, extremism, and also in the face of external aggressions. This is the events that are taking place in the country to celebrate, to mark the 214th anniversary of the signing of independence.
Forever loyal.
El sol de Venezuela nace.
The Venezuelan sun rises in the Essequibo. We will forever be loyal. Chavez lives. Forever loyal. The Essequibo is ours. Chavez lives. Forever loyal. The Essequibo is ours. Chavez lives on. We will be forever loyal. The Essequibo is ours. On the count of 3. And tribute to the men and women who gave their lives to give us independence and freedom.
del desfile de honor.
En estos momentos el comandante en jefe de la Fuerza Armada Nacional Bolivariana y presidente constitucional de la República.
Is taking place at this hour in Caracas. This is the Caracas Independence Day Parade, or joint civil-military parade of the 5th of July, and one of the largest in the Americas. Let's see.
Soldado venezolano. Importante momento donde el jefe de Estado en compañía de la primera dama de la República saludan a los presentes.
Leader of the Bolivarian nation, President Nicolás Maduro, is leading the parade that is taking place at this moment in Caracas. These are live images of the moment in which the country as a whole is marking the 214th anniversary of the independence of Venezuela, and also there has been several ceremonies, solemn ceremonies that have been taking place throughout the nation since very early in the morning to mark this key paramount day for Venezuelans, July 5th, the day of independence, as well as the day of the Bolivarian National Armed Forces. We also were listening a few moments ago to President Nicolás Maduro as he honored Liberator Simón Bolívar, also Antonio José de Sucre, and the patriots who fought for the independence of the Bolivarian nation against the Spanish Empire. This is the moment in which the parade, the military and civil parade of Caracas, is going to begin to celebrate, to mark the 214th anniversary of the Venezuela's independence, of the signing of the independence of Venezuela, and also is the day of the Bolivarian National Armed Forces. There are going to be a huge deployment of this military parade to honor also the military capabilities of the country, a country that is willing to safeguard, to protect their civil society, also in this crucial moment after many years of misinformation campaigns, of also the extremist attempts to shift the political path of Venezuela. They haven't fulfilled this goal, and this is a moment of reaffirmation, of unity, of self-determination of the country to maintain this path of political transformations, of social transformations in a country that is also putting the people at the very center of the political decision-making of the country, at the hands of the communes of the country, at the hands of the communal circuits that are the ones that are at the forefront as well of pushing the nation forward. And this also is a moment of this reaffirmation, of renovation of the vows of the country that is willing to keep moving forward, to keep developing in their very own way, on their political as well determination. There is at this moment a military parade that is going to be taking place in the capital of Venezuela, but also there have been many events happening since very early in the morning. A solemn act at the National Pantheon of Venezuela opened the celebrations of the 214th anniversary of the independence of Venezuela in honor of the patriots who with courage and sacrifice fought for the independence of the Bolivarian nation. There were also floral wreaths that were placed at the foot of the monument of the Liberator Simón Bolívar in a symbolic gesture of gratitude and memory of the Venezuelan people, and in tribute to the legacy of Liberator Simón Bolívar as well. And with this tribute, the country reaffirmed its commitment to the values of sovereignty and solidarity that inspired the Liberator Simón Bolívar more than 2 centuries ago to take this deed and also in that national pantheon, which is a historic place that houses the remains of illustrious figures of Venezuelan history. That was one of the first events that took place today on July 5th as well. During this day, there were also several commemorative activities. Among them, there is now one taking place, a traditional civic military parade that symbolizes the discipline, commitment and pride of the armed forces for the homeland, and also their willingness to keep protecting the country from all foreign attempts to destabilize the country. The president, Nicolás Maduro, the first combatant, Celia Flores, are leading this parade. At this moment we can see the huge deployment of the military forces that are carrying out this traditional parade, military and civic parade. At this moment we can see President Nicolás Maduro and Celia Flores leading this moment in the city of Caracas, capital of Venezuela, with a whole country that is watching, along with also many people that are on the streets waiting to see this deployment, this parade, this traditional parade that takes place every July 5th as a moment that symbolizes the strength and determination of Venezuela to free itself from the Spanish colonialism, and how it also, that heritage remains very much alive in Venezuela's determination to keep defending their sovereignty, their independence, their freedom in the face of any attempts from the extreme right wing, in the face of any attempts from the far right of the Western powers, and also in the face of misinformation campaigns that have been targeting so heavily the country, Venezuela, that suffers as well the imposition of over 1,000 sanctions, unilateral coercive measures imposed by the government of the United States and also its Western allies and the European Commission as well. And this is the way in which Venezuela is saying, we are here, we are united, we are determined to keep fighting for our ideals, to keep very much alive the memory of those liberators who fought until the death for Venezuela to become a free and independent state like it is today, with also the leadership and the ideals of Commander Hugo Chavez, who since its early moments in power tried to draw a path of independence based on and having the most vulnerable people at the center of its political initiatives, its social initiatives. There have been so many missions taking place in Venezuela for the past 2 decades that are putting the people at the center and it has been a way in which the country has managed to overcome all the difficulties imposed by foreign interferences, attempts against the country, and it has been the way in which it has managed to overcome the economic difficulties as well, and how it is a nation that is at the forefront of the region in matters of developing, of economic growth, of social development as well. There have been so many intentions to provide with housing to the people, to the most vulnerable people. So this is a moment in which Venezuela is recalling all of these achievements that have been taking place for several years now, in the midst of these political campaigns and these attempts by the extreme right wing to try to overcome and to try to create a change, to make a change of political path in the country, and that hasn't been able because of the strong leadership of President Nicolás Maduro. Let's recall that July 5th is a day of celebration, is a day in which the people remembers as well as the 5th of July, and is the national independence holiday of Venezuela that marks every year on July 5th the anniversary since the enactment of the 1811 Venezuelan Declaration of Independence, making the country the first Spanish colony in South America to declare independence. Let's recall that Venezuela was the first South American nation that achieved its independence from the Spanish colonialism, and this was thanks to the struggle, to the fight of Liberator Simón Bolívar and other great patriots from that era that helped to achieve this deed as well. In recent years, it also marks the National Armed Forces Day, and to honor the faithful service of all the serving men and women and veterans of the National Bolivarian Armed Forces of Venezuela. This is a symbolic act. We can see the music that is following this celebration. It is also led by President Nicolás Maduro himself and all the main leaders of the Bolivarian government at this hour. And President Nicolás Maduro is also greeting all the people present in this ceremony at this hour, and at this moment is set to begin the parade, the Caracas Independence Day Parade, or Joint Civil-Military Parade of the 5th of July, that is one of the largest in the Americas. Let's listen.
On July 5th, 1811, the Congress declared Venezuela as an independent republic. The founding document read, "We, with the will and the authority vested in us, we declare that our united provinces will be from this moment, in fact and in right, be considered independent state." With the clear mission that our President, Nicolás Maduro leads the army, and with the spirit of our eternal commander, Hugo Rafael Chavez Frias, Maduro is making everything necessary to bring police and the army and the nation together to develop the nation with a protagonist role of all Venezuelans. This massive popular police military parade begins. Here is the Venezuelan flag, which is the maximum symbol of Venezuelan identity. The first soldier on a horse pays tribute to Miranda General. Another horse is carrying the sword of Bolivarian liberator Simón Bolívar. And the other horses are carrying the swords of all the other great generals of the independence of Venezuela. Now marching by in front of the presidential tribune
Revolución Bolivariana.
Pueblo de Venezuela y del mundo
The
entero.
Venezuelan people and
Se presenta
people all around the
ante
world
la tribuna presidencial.
before the presidential tribune. It's passing now.
El ciudadano general de división, José Ramón Figuera Valdés.
The Division General José Ramón Figuera Valdés commanding this parade on an armored vehicle, followed by Vice Almirant Gregorio.
Seguidamente, pueblo de Venezuela.
Next,
Compatriotas, ante ustedes se observa
you're watching now
el bosque de estandartes,
a forest of flags
el cual representa las
which
diferentes
represent
independencias de nuestra gloriosa Fuerza Armada Nacional Bolivariana.
all of the units of our glorious army
En una sola agrupación,
coming
demostrando
together in one block,
disciplina,
demonstrating union, discipline, loyalty, and strength, and above all,
espíritu de cuerpo, en este día tan solemne para la República.
unity spirit on this very important day for the Republic.
La historia, donde su herencia es la independencia,
A republic with heritage of independence and absolute freedom,
en los corazones del orgulloso
with a vision to keep that spirit in the hearts of the Venezuelan people.
A continuación se presenta
Next,
el conjunto de agrupaciones históricas de la Fuerza Armada
a
Nacional Bolivariana,
group of historical
comandadas por el ciudadano coronel Yender José Méndez
crews
Castillo,
of the
segundo
army,
comandante del cuartel general del Ministerio del Poder Popular para la Defensa. Con los pechos rojos y alamares dorados, hombres y mujeres
with their
valerosos y
uniforms.
leales se aproximan a la tribuna
They are
presidencial,
approaching
la agrupación de
the
la Guardia de Honor del
head
Libertador,
tribune,
Unidad Élite,
the
creada
honor
el 12
guard
de
of
febrero de 1815.
Simón Bolívar Honor Guard,
Guardia y
created
custodia de la seguridad integral de
in
nuestro comandante en jefe de
1815,
la Fuerza
which
Armada
provides
Nacional
security
Bolivariana,
to the head
comandado
of
por
the
el
army.
coronel Piñas Hernández, comandante del batallón 24 de junio, donde a Bolívar y a Chávez rendimos memoria en la fe de su guardia de honor.
And with this guard of honor, they are paying tribute to Commanders Simón Bolívar and Hugo Chávez.
ante la tribuna presidencial.
Before the presidential tribune, the Caracas battalion is marching by with God, revolution, and the homeland, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Mujica.
Descendientes de los indios Caracas, quienes juntos con sus excelentes profesionales patriotas y revolucionarios de diferentes
This
componentes,
battalion was first made up of Caracas native people.
para la defensa.
Con paso firme y resuelto se presenta ante la patria
And now,
la representación histórica de la
the
gloriosa
historical
batalla de
representation of the
Ayacucho.
Ayacucho
Avanza el
battle.
pendón de Pizarro, símbolo de
They are
victoria
holding the
sobre el
standards
imperio
of the
español,
Pizarro,
que desfila junto al bosque de
which
estandartes
represent
de los
the
regimientos
defeat of
españoles
the Spanish
derrotados por el Ejército Unido
Empire,
Libertador. Los hijos de Bolívar
defeated
no
by the
salieron a oprimir, sino
army
a
of Bolivar,
conquistar la libertad de
who
toda
were not
Sudamérica.
repressing anyone but conquering victory and independence for all of America, all of the Americas.
Seguidamente desfila el batallón de cuartel
Now we
general,
see
general de brigada
the battalion
Daniel Florencio Oliari,
from the
unidad
headquarters,
comandada por el teniente coronel José
commanded
Javier
by
Sandía
Lieutenant
Pernilla.
José
Esta unidad
Garcia,
lleva con orgullo el nombre
which
del
carries
insigne
the
general
name
Daniel
of
Florencio Oliari,
General
edecán del
Daniel
Libertador
Florencio,
Simón Bolívar,
who was
quien
an
lo
aide
acompañó
de
después
camp
de
to
1825
General Bolivar,
en las luchas por la
who
integración
accompanied
de
him
nuestros pueblos.
through all the
Oliari,
battles
combatiente fiel de la causa
for
bolivariana,
independence.
participó en diversas campañas, incluyendo la decisiva Segunda Batalla de Carabobo.
He was also present at the second decisive battle of Carabobo, which sealed independence for Venezuela. Next group representing the historical soldiers of the Junín battle. These are students from professional troops of the Bolivarian Army of the Division José Félix Río, commanded by Commander Antonio Valladares. They are representing the men and women who fought the Spanish army on the Junín battle, also called the Silent Battle.
Horror a la oligarquía, tierra y hombres libres, oligarcas temblad, viva la libertad. El general en jefe Ezequiel Zamora en 1846.
In 1846, Ezequiel Zamora, the great general, gave a cry of victory.
Comandada por el ciudadano coronel Manuel Felipe Gutiérrez Camacho, con las vestimentas de las tradicionales y heroicas tropas de Zamora.
These soldiers are wearing the traditional, the historical outfits of the army at the time.
Esta unidad es comandada por el ciudadano teniente coronel Miguel Montes Rodríguez. Estos hombres y mujeres
now these men and women represent
en la insurrección armada del 4 de febrero, 27 de noviembre de 1992 y 13 de
troops that took part in the armed insurrection of 1994 on November the 27th.
que marcaron la creciente influencia, liderazgo y popularidad de nuestro comandante supremo y eterno Hugo Chávez,
which propel Hugo Chavez to the public eye.
Unidad, lucha, batalla y victoria. Ha llegado la hora de los pueblos.
The time of the peoples has come. And it's time for all the peoples in the continent to come together on this era of the bicentennial. This is the sovereign people, the tree of 5 roots, symbolized by Simón Bolívar, Francisco de Miranda, Marshal Antonio José de Sucre, and Supreme Commander Hugo Chavez. For continuity of the revolution in this country. And now we have a representation of the different native peoples of this land, each with their own culture and language, but coming together as one country. Now a representation of social movements, mobilizing debate in society, designing ideas to bring changes in this revolutionary society. And now we have a representation of productive councils from PDVSA, the great oil company, and of representatives of the great mission Venezuela Transport, promoting policies to promote an integral development. Now we see representatives of communal military brigades, a program created in 2022 by Commander Maduro to recover educational infrastructure, to strengthen communities. Today we have a homeland. No one should make a mistake about this. Today we continue building the society with a military fusion. We are building a fully independent country, a socialist country. We are one army, one voice, the people with the army, a police and army fusion. Security forces. We are one force, one voice. The people and the armed forces fused together, with committed for a free, sovereign, independent country. Now the Bolivarian police was born in 2009 as an idea of Eternal Commander Hugo Chavez Frias to have a police force defending the law. And now we see the motorized feminine brigade. These are all female police women controlling traffic.
Asimismo, se presentan el Centro de Coordinación Policial Capital, Unidad Territorial del Cuerpo de Policía Nacional Bolivariana, encargado de la gestión y coordinación de la seguridad ciudadana en la Gran Caracas. De igual manera, la unidad de precisión que cuenta con comandos motorizados que destacan por su rapidez, efectividad.
These are motorized units which are fast to action, created on May 22, 2015. To control criminal gangs in the city. The Venezuelan state, in order to guarantee safety in the country, has implemented a plan of peace quadrants, which are geographic areas of 2 to 5 square kilometers.
Se presentan en este orden las unidades vehiculares del Cuerpo de Policía Nacional Bolivariana. La dirección
Now we see the police patrol cars of the National Police, who also control traffic, try to prevent accidents. This is a national unit of the National Police Force. They carry raids to prevent crime, patrolling communities, working on those peace quadrants. To quickly respond to any public disorder. Now we see the GAN division of the police in charge of identifying and dismembering criminal bands operated in national territory within Venezuela. Now we see the tactical units created by Hugo Chavez Frias in 2009. This tactical operations unit is in charge.
We were live to Venezuela. We were witnessing the joint civil-military parade of the 5th of July, where President Nicolás Maduro offers statements marking the 214th anniversary of Venezuela's independence and Bolivarian Armed Forces Day. During his intervention at this solemn event, President Nicolás Maduro honored Liberator Simón Bolívar, José Antonio de Sucre, and the patriots who fought for the independence of the Bolivarian nation against the Spanish Empire. President Maduro highlighted the importance of national unity, the importance of the strength of the armed forces to guarantee sovereignty, to guarantee independence, the defense of independence of the country in the face of fascism, extremism, and in the face of external aggressions.